YouTube friends, welcome back to another episode of Auntie's Kitchen. My name's Amanda and I love sharing with people simple and delicious recipes that you can cook here in South Korea using South Korean ingredients. If you're new to the channel, hi there, 안녕하세요. Welcome to everybody wherever you're watching. I hope you're having a great week and I really appreciate all of your support. Thanks very much. Today, as the thumbnail suggests, I'm going to be sharing with you a traditional Bolognese sauce. It is so simple to make, so please make sure to watch this video all the way through. I'm not only going to be sharing some tips with you, but also some alternate ingredients that you can use when making this sauce. If you haven't already, please check out the previous video as I share with you a simple recipe, how to make homemade pasta, and we're going to be using that in today's recipe. A good Bolognese takes time to make as you build upon layer and layer and allow all of the ingredients really to infuse together. So let me show you today a simple traditional Bolognese sauce with homemade pasta in South Korea.
The first thing we need to do is start building the base of our Bolognese sauce. So I cut up a carrot and some celery and an onion. Into a pan I throw a small amount of butter and some olive oil and then put the vegetables we've just cut up to start them cooking. This is a very flexible recipe. How much of each of the vegetables you cut up is totally up to you. Not only do the carrots and celery add flavour, but they're also good to use to bulk up a dish if you don't have much meat. I like my Bolognese sauce to have a bit of substance, so you will notice that I don't cut up my vegetables very small. Feel free when you make this to cut them up smaller if you would prefer. A traditional Bolognese sauce uses a mix of pork and beef meat, so that's what I'll be using today. But if you only have beef, then that's fine too. Once your vegetables start to soften and you can see that your onions started to become translucent, I make a space in the pan and get my meat mixed in and cooking. The meat starts to cook, I then season with some salt and pepper. As the meat cooks down, there'll be a lot of liquid released into the pan, as you can see here. You want to keep cooking this on a low-medium heat until all the water has evaporated. Then, once most of the liquid is evaporated, add a glass of red wine and get that mixed in. Just use any red wine that you have hanging around. If you don't have any red wine, then some white wine or some milk also work well. Allow the wine to simmer for about 5 minutes and then add a big spoon of tomato paste and get that mixed in. Once again, you want to simmer down your wine and allow the tomato paste to cook off, and these flavours will allow your Bolognese sauce to have a wonderful depth of flavour that we talked about in the intro. While the sauce is cooking, I throw into the pan some tomatoes I had lying around, but these are an optional extra. There's nothing to stop you at this stage adding in some peppers and mushrooms. As I always say, just take this recipe and make it your own. Next I add 1 to 2 cloves of garlic and then some vegetable stock. I get my vegetable stock from Emart and Home Plus. When you add your vegetable stock, you're looking to put enough into the pan so that it just covers your meat. Once again, mix all of your ingredients together and simmer on a low heat. Then after tasting again, I add some more basic seasoning, some pepper, salt, oregano and thyme. To take your traditional Bolognese sauce to the next level, add a bay leaf, or otherwise known as a laurel leaf. You can find them in Home Plus or Emart occasionally. If you can't, then don't worry. I also like to add a little bit of cayenne pepper for a touch of heat. Once you've finished seasoning, don't forget to taste your Bolognese and check that the seasoning is where you want it. Then all that's left to do is to allow this to simmer on your stovetop for about 30 minutes. Whenever I make a Bolognese sauce, I always like to make double the amount so that I can store some once it's cooled down in my freezer and save it for a rainy day. So while the remainder of the sauce simmered for 30 minutes, I cut up the fresh pasta and then grated some Parmesan. Bring your water up to a boil and season well with salt. Usually pasta takes anywhere between 8 and 10 minutes, but when you're using fresh pasta, it only takes about 4 minutes. If you don't have any time to make your own pasta, then just go ahead and use some shop-bought pasta. But for those feeling adventurous, I highly recommend making your own. When cooking fresh pasta, when you first put it into the water, make sure that you move it around so that it does not stick. When it floats to the surface, you know that it is done. So as you can see here, the pasta is on the surface, so it's ready to remove and serve up. You can either drain it and serve it in a bowl with the Bolognese sauce served on top, or as I like to serve it, all mixed up so that your pasta is covered with your delicious Bolognese sauce. This is comfort food at its best. There really is nothing nicer than a traditional Bolognese sauce served with some homemade pasta and accompanied with a good glass of red wine. Finish the dish off with some ground pepper, Parmesan cheese and a light sprinkling of extra virgin oil. What's great about this Bolognese sauce is that you can make it the day before. And as I mentioned earlier, if you don't have time to make your own pasta, just use some shop-bought pasta. Thanks for watching today. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a great week. God bless. Chop bok ham na da.